The Triple Threat Show. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is a beautiful, what is it now? Tuesday, January 13th. It has been a wild week of football, a wild weekend of football, but the wild card round has come and gone. The Houston Texans, the final team to punch their ticket to the divisional round, their third straight season of advancing past the wild card round in the playoffs. CJ Stroud didn't have to do much. That defense did all the talking for him, including 2 late defensive touchdowns to really put that game to bed. We will break that game down. We will break down the winners and losers from Wild Card Week as a whole, and we'll turn our attention a little bit to the diamond there. From the gridiron to the diamond, Nolan? We're going to talk a little bit about the Alex Bregman signing. The Chicago Cubs active right now. They're probably not going to bring back Kyle Tucker, but Alex Bregman to fill a hole at third base. We'll talk about what that means, if it's an upgrade or a downgrade from a guy like Kyle Tucker. But to help me out with all of it, I've got my 2 friends and co-hosts, Nolan Jamber and Mehrob Fatemi. Welcome in, everybody. How are you guys doing today?
Doing wonderful, my friend. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. We're ready to get this thing started. And let's break down the full divisional round slate here. The divisional round is set, and we're ready to go with the final 8 teams in the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, let's start with this Monday night game. Let's talk about this a little bit, guys, because wow, what a performance by that Houston Texans defense. You talk about shutting a team down, holding them to 6 points. First of all, just without any looking at any other stats, that's incredibly impressive. Holding a playoff team to just 6 points, holding them to 175 yards, less than 2 third down conversions as a team. They dominated that game. Aaron Rodgers might have only been sacked 4 times, but it looked to me that he got sacked about 25 times the way that game was going. It has been an absolute mess of a day right now, of a game. It just has not gone the way that they all expected it to go when you are in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. Aaron Rodgers potentially done. Mike Tomlin potentially done, no longer a member of the Steelers. We'll have to find out. Those are the big kind of fallouts for them. But I want to start with this game as a whole, because we have seen what has gotten the Texans to be as good as they have been on a 10-game win streak now. That defense. Will Anderson Jr. named to the All-Pro team. This team is ridiculously stacked at all 3 levels. Al-Shaair leading that linebackers unit. You have Derek Stingley, maybe the best corner in the league, leading that corner unit. You've got a deadly pass rush duo of Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. coming off the edge. And when your quarterback can't move around in the pocket like a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers can't move around the pocket, I got bad news for you Pittsburgh Steelers fans. It's going to go the way that you saw it go. 30-6, an absolute dismantling of that team. That defense outscored your offense. That's the way that game went in this one. It was a mess. Mehrob, what were your thoughts on this brutal game for a Pittsburgh Steelers offense?
Yeah, I mean, brutal is just the perfect word for it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had a miserable day out there. There was a fumble for 6. He had a pick 6 to close the game to salt it away. I mean, the Steelers could not get anything going in this one. It was not the best day for them. Versus on the other side, the Houston Texans might be the most dangerous team in the AFC. And hold on for a second. Let me tell you why. I know the Texans just lost Nico Collins probably for the rest of the playoffs. He got carted off the field with a concussion. Not his first of the season either. But Christian Kirk, just casual 8 receptions for 150 yards last night. He took the brunt of the load over there for the offensive workload. I mean, he had a great game on all levels. The run game, Woody Marks and Nick Chubb combined for 175 yards. CJ Stroud still threw for 250. Still played pretty well. Did take 3 sacks, still had a pick, but played pretty well, 21-32. I mean, the Texans just had such a well-balanced game, offensively, defensively. And if I'm being fully honest, the Patriots have a problem because this Texans team I was so unbelievably wrong when I came on here and said, "Oh, the Houston Texans, they have to go up to Pittsburgh. They're going to struggle in the cold. They can't travel." Yes, they can. The Texans put up 23 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, that team can travel offensively, defensively. They put up 400 yards of total offense. This team is lights out and ready to go, and the Patriots better be ready to go with that offense with Drake May.
Absolutely. I mean, it wasn't like CJ Stroud played a perfect game, but you don't need to play a perfect game. You don't even need to play a great game. I thought he looked like he was melting down for a lot of that, especially in the first half. You look at the way that he threw a couple of interceptions, the way that he was taking sacks. But that run game, shout out to Woody Marks reaching that 100-yard mark for the first time in his rookie year, first time in his young career. Christian Kirk, a career high, 144 receiving yards and a touchdown. That's my big money man over there. Shout out to Christian Kirk. But you brought it up. That defense travels, Mehrob. It doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees. It doesn't matter if it's 1 degree outside. That defense is going to travel. They're going to play hard, and they're going to make your life as an opposing team absolutely miserable, Nolan. It's going to be tough to get this team out. That's why they were that dark horse team for me to come out of the AFC. I couldn't quite put them all the way, but this is a team that's going to be very, very dangerous moving forward. And that Patriots matchup right there feels kind of nightmarish for the Patriots here, you know? This is a team that has some struggles on the offensive line. You saw the way that the Chargers were able to get pass rush in against that left side of the line. Will Campbell wasn't really holding up too well against the power moves, and you throw that against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter? Good luck out there. That's gonna be a big mess. But Nolan, that game is in the future. There is still a lot of takeaways here. I want to hear your thoughts on the Steelers here a little bit because they've got a lot of questions to answer themselves. Off the field in the future, we'll get to that in a second. But just hear this game. They continue to sneak into the playoffs here. They continue to get demolished in the playoffs. Is it coaching? Is it the personnel? What is it about this Steelers team that lets them be just good enough in the regular season, but then absolutely lifeless when it comes to the first round of these playoff games?
It's just a combo of both because you're making the playoffs every year for the past 18 seasons, but you're constantly it's been 7 straight seasons and they haven't won a playoff game. It's got to be a combo of both because you have Mike Tomlin, obviously one of the probably the most tenured coach currently in the NFL, maybe behind Andy Reid, but he's been there for 18 seasons, hasn't had a losing season in his entire 18 seasons. He's constantly getting over 500 and making the playoffs, but for the past 6 or 7 seasons now, he hasn't done anything in the postseason. He's just been losing first round. And there's also, there's not just coaching; it's the players as well. I mean, getting Aaron Rodgers, don't get me wrong, he's on one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but he's just like 40 years old. He's just not going to cut it, especially, and he can't move like he used to. And it's like that his receivers aren't really that good. I mean, you're throwing, DK Metcalf is good, but he's just got constantly just in trouble because he was just suspended for those 2 games after that fight in Detroit. Your running back room isn't that good. Jalen Warren's not bad, don't get me wrong, but he's just mediocre. The entire team, there's no one who really stands out on the offensive side of the ball. They're all just okay players. Their offensive line, okay. You got an okay quarterback. You have an okay receiving core. You have a decent tight end core. You have a very good tight end, but other than that, I mean, the whole offense is just kind of mediocre. And their defense is their strong suit. Their defense let up 30 points. Oh, actually, no, sorry, not 30 points. Let up 16 points because there's 14 from the 2 pick sixes or strip sixes. But I mean, other than that, they still would have lost because it's really just kind of at this point the Steelers need to figure out what to do because they need to go get someone who can really make a difference, and no one on either side of the ball can really make a difference. They're all just okay.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a weird disconnect there between the defense and the offense. That's kind of how it's always been. I think that leads to bigger questions, Mehrob. And we're going to start with the quarterback, and then we'll get to the coach here, because that's kind of the big what's going to happen for the future of the Steelers. Let's run through 2 scenarios here with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers retires. That one's an easy one. He's done. He hangs up the cleats and the Steelers look for a new quarterback. But then there's an interesting one. Aaron Rodgers says, hey, I would like to come back and play one more season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you do in that situation? Because that is a fascinating one. He's already 42. He's going to be 43 next year. You saw the way that it worked this season to, I'll say, mixed results. Do you running back one more time and say we saw 10-7 and we want to see if he can win a playoff game? This was just a bad matchup for him. Or are you shutting him out and you're saying, Aaron, you're done. You're not our starter anymore, Mehrob?
I think the Steelers should go out there and try and find themselves a new quarterback to start off with. I don't know if that involves that will most likely I take that back. That will most likely involve getting somebody drafted because I don't know which free agent wants to go to Pittsburgh to play in that offense. But I definitely think they need to find a new situation. They need to find somebody new to go over there to Pittsburgh and hit the reset button at the quarterback spot. I just think Aaron Rodgers is not the guy that can take you very much longer. He can take you maybe one more year max, but he's done. He even this year he didn't look like himself at times. You just saw him. He couldn't move the ball downfield. He was just making errant throws. Some throws that you wouldn't expect Aaron Rodgers to make sometimes. And yeah, sometimes it's on the wide receiver. DK Metcalf shouldn't be dropping some of the balls that he was last night. But you can't blame him. But at the same time, Aaron Rodgers, just hang it up, man. You're one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Just hang it up. You got nothing left. I just don't think he has a whole lot left to play for. That he can really help a team to take care of to go win a Super Bowl. Because ultimately, what else are you playing for outside of a Super Bowl?
We'll stay there for a second. Do you think he retires? We went through the two scenarios that they were kind of there for him, but do you think he says, "I want to come back for one more year"? Or is that his swan song with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I think he retires. I think it just makes the most sense for him and his family, I would say. Because, I mean, what else is what does he have to play for outside of winning Super Bowls?
Just because he wants to. I mean, you're
mean,
right. There isn't much more to play for. He's won a Super Bowl. He's won a lot of MVPs. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's in conversations for one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Top 5 conversations of all time quarterbacks is where he's going to find himself because he was that special of a player. But now he's just playing if he wants to. Like that's really all it comes down to. He said probably this is his last year. We are going to have to see what that means if it actually is going to be his final season as an NFL quarterback. But Nolan, that leads to a more interesting conversation in my mind. Aaron Rodgers, 42. He's going to either come or he's going to go, right? But the coaching situation has been a fascinating one really all season long. The noise has gotten really loud surrounding Mike Tomlin. This has been something that's been building for years in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They haven't won a game in the playoffs since 2016. It's been 10 years since they won a playoff game. They've lost 7 straight wildcard games. They've been to 5 in this decade in the 2020s. And they've been embarrassed in every single one of them, completely outmatched in each and every single one of those games. Mike Tomlin, I'm not going to say it's his entire fault because he's a defensive coach, right? But he also makes the hiring decisions for the offensive side of the ball, right? And that is questionable decisions at best. You, of course, have the Matt Canada era that the Pittsburgh Steelers fans were not very happy with, and now you immediately transition that into the Arthur Smith era, which, again, the Pittsburgh Steelers fans shouldn't be very happy with, and now they've turned their attention away from the offensive coordinator to the head coach himself. Now, I've been on the side of they need to mutually part ways because Tomlin's still a great coach, and if I'm the Steelers, it hurts to move on from him, but clearly you both need to restart. You can't keep doing this limbo of 9-8, 10-7, 8-1, and getting blown out in the first round of the playoffs. You can't keep doing that. That's not something that's going to be sustainable if you're the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, on the other hand, he has that record, 19 straight years with a winning record. That's incredibly impressive, and no one's going to be able to take that away from him. But what he is going to have to do is prove that he can win in those big moments, prove that he can win in the playoffs. They need to mutually part ways in order to both be as successful as they can be. I don't know if that's going to happen there. Pittsburgh Steelers feels like an organization that's going to leave him in there until he fails. and then they're just going to be stuck in this vicious loop, Nolan, forever. What would you do if you were the Steelers? What would you do if you were Tomlin in this situation? Because there's a lot of different complicated angles you could look at.
First off, if I'm the Steelers, I would let him go, mutually part ways, because there's so many good head coaches available right now, or OCs who are on the market. You know, got Mike McDaniel, Kevin Stefanski, John Harbaugh. There's so many. Granted, they're all already interviewing with other people, but you might. I mean, you're the Steelers. You're one of the most historically. You're one of the best historical programs and franchises of all time. People are going to want to go there, you know. And so, I mean, the rosters, you know, those are a little questionable, but they're constantly winning games. They're constantly making the playoffs. I still think it's just a coaching problem as well. So I think if you get a new guy in there, it could maybe take that roster they currently have and, you know, boost into a playoff win. Because that's what the Steelers fans need. They need to have faith in a guy, and they've completely lost faith in Mike Tomlin. They've had that chance for 10 years now, 5 straight wild cards, and you can't get one win in 2020. That's just sad. I think it's time to move on from Mike Tomlin and just let him go. I think you have to let him go this offseason and find someone who's gonna, you know, who wants to coach there. Because someone will want to coach there. There's a million people, a lot of good options available right now to go get. And I think that this is the best offseason to do it. Maybe if not this offseason, the next offseason. But I think if they want to keep their fans happy, if they want to win, then this is the offseason to do it. He hasn't done much. He just hasn't done anything in the past 10 years. It's just time to let him go.
See, that's where you and I differ a little bit, because I think if the Pittsburgh Steelers want to win, Mehrob, I think that they need to keep Mike Tomlin, because all Mike Tomlin does is win. That's an NFL record, 19 straight winning seasons to start your career, right? That is incredibly impressive, right? That's going to be the stat that follows him, gets him into the Hall of Fame, quite frankly. He deserves to get into the Hall of Fame for what he's done with this Steelers team year in and year out, dealing with injuries, bad quarterback situations. But if the Steelers really want to win, they need to lose. And I hate suggesting tanking for any team. I hate suggesting tanking for any franchise because it sucks. It is not fun to lose games, especially in football where it's such a big league and you're so used to winning there, Mehrob. But you have to lose in order to win sometimes. And right now the Steelers are in this predicament where they're kind of in this purgatory of sorts, where they're just good enough to be in the playoffs, but they're not good enough to ever be taken seriously as a contender. They're a quarterback away, and that roster keeps getting older and older and older. I mean, what's the solution here, Mehrob? What are you doing as that Steelers GM? Are you saying we're setting it all on fire and setting it ablaze, moving on? Are you going to save Mike Tomlin from that fate, or are you just going to let Mike Tomlin sink with the ship as it slowly gets worse and worse and worse as Father Time takes its toll?
I think it's really 50-50 because you brought up the stat that he has 19 straight years of winning seasons, of having winning records. But at the same time, it's really tough to say, you know. I think I'm kind of with Nolan that this is the year that if they want to go with the coaching carousel, they should do it, because especially with the amount of names that are out there right now, there's 10, 15 teams that are looking for head coaches out there. So I think this is a great year to go out there and try to do it, especially the Pittsburgh Steelers job is more appealing, I'd say, than like the Cardinals job or even the Dolphins job or like the Falcons or there's some jobs out there that like they have more of a reputable team and organization to go to over these teams. So I think they should go with it. I think if it was me, if I was Art Rooney, I would move on from Mike Tomlin and call it a career. I would say also move on with Aaron Rodgers and call it the end of an era. But I also think there's something to be said about Mike Tomlin and keeping him at least for one more year, giving it another go. And I think they need to get rid of some of their older players if they can. Trade them away, try and use some of their veteran value and get some younger talent in there. At least try to get some picks because this team desperately needs to get younger, needs to draft better, and needs to get some young pieces in there so they have some longevity and so they have something to look forward to for the next 5 to 10 years. Because I agree with you, Jeremy. They look incredibly old right now. They are there's it feels like we're still living in the 2018s, 2019s when we're looking at this Steelers team. Meanwhile, it's 2025.
Right, it's all the same guys from then too. Like outside of the quarterback changing around, it's still the same stars on defense. You still have TJ Watt, you still have Cameron Hayward, you still have all these guys that have powered this team to their record year after year after year. Hayward's not going to be there for much longer. He's like 37 right now, right? That's not sustainable. TJ Watt is great, but he keeps getting hurt. I don't know how long he's going to be able to keep up his elite play for. I'm on team tank for the Steelers, honestly. I'm on team blow it all up, start all over, get a quarterback. I don't care what it takes. Trade away Hayward, trade away DK Metcalf in a package, trade away your first and get that first overall pick or something to get a quarterback that you like. If you think Mendoza is that guy, go and send the house for him. You need a new quarterback that's going to be there for the future. I think that's the biggest thing. Whether that's with Tomlin or that's with a different coach, they need to build around a young quarterback that they can say we will be good and able to win a playoff game with for the next 5 to 10 years. But we'll talk more about the Steelers as we continue to go into the offseason because they're obviously going to have a real big question to ask. I don't think they end up moving off of Mike Tomlin after all. I think we would have heard the news probably in the next couple hours if they do decide to do that. But let's talk about Wildcard Weekend as a whole, guys, because Wildcard Weekend was wild. It was a really great weekend of football. We saw 4 incredible games, 4 of them. We also saw 2 kind of dud games near the stretch, which killed a lot of the momentum. But we've got to go over our winners and losers here. And we're going to start off with a big winner this week, and that's just us fans. Like, we saw the most exciting wild card weekend by the numbers in NFL history. That's 4 games coming down to 1 possession in the last 2 minutes. That is an NFL record. That's 4 games with massive lead changes in the fourth quarter. That is an NFL record. What we saw on Saturday and into the afternoon, I should say, on Sunday was just an electric performance by these teams, and the NFL killed it with its scheduling and the way that they were able to get these matchups through the regular season. It's incredibly impressive. That was my biggest winner of the week. Mehrob, do you have a winner or a loser for this week?
Yeah, I have some winners and losers for sure. Well, now I have 3. It was originally 2, but I have 3 now. Number 1, I have to give a lot of credit to Bryce Young. I think we touched on it yesterday. I think he's added at least another 2 years, if not 3 years, to his starting job career in Carolina. He's really cemented himself. Oh, okay, fair enough. Then I'll run off Bryce Young. I mean, he's cemented himself as the future quarterback. He's the future for Carolina. That Carolina team showed a lot of poise against the Rams. I think there's a lot of good things brewing over there, and I think it's just the start of what we're going to see in Carolina for the next few years to come.
Nolan, you got a winner or a loser for us here?
I'm gonna start with a loser. I have a loser, Justin Herbert, 0-3 in the playoffs. It's just bad. I love Justin Herbert in college. I still love him as a Charger, but man, something's got to change. The O-line, something's got to happen. I mean, that team is just loaded with talent on both sides of the ball, and he just can't win a playoff game. And don't get me wrong, he was playing a good team with the Patriots, but still, I mean, you fly across the country and kick a field goal. I mean, come on. In time where you're trying to prove yourself to be a legit, contending quarterback and on a contending team, you scored 3 points. Loser.
I'm gonna pause this segment for that here because I need to defend my boy Justin Herbert, guys. This is some slander. It was not his fault. I know that's the line, right? Not his fault, but it really wasn't. Right? I felt bad for Justin Herbert after that game. He is a big loser this week, but I felt so bad for him the way he was taking hit after hit. Every single play, he was on his ass. Every single play, he was on the ground.
O-line just
The wide receivers couldn't create separation. The defense played great. The wide receivers couldn't get open. He didn't have time to find them, even if they did get open. They dropped some passes. The offensive line let 4 unblocked guys in. You want to talk about a guy under pressure? We talk about Aaron Rodgers. What about Justin Herbert down there? Definitely a loser this week, but not his fault. I've got another winner this week for you guys, though. I'm going to give you a big winner. How about the Chicago Bears coming all the way back, down 21-3, a huge win for them. That city is fired up. They take down their arch rival, the Green Bay Packers. Ben Johnson gets that city fired up, saying, F the Packers, F the Packers. I know that's going to cause some stir-ups, but that's how you build a rivalry there. There's going to be some real hatred in those Bears-Packers games moving forward. They're going to mean something to both of those fan bases, not just the one that's been dominating for the last 20 years.
No doubt about it. The cheese graters versus the cheese heads. It's going to be a fun matchup for the next few years. Another winner for me has got to be, you brought up Justin Herbert as a loser. How about that Patriots defense getting after the quarterback over there, getting after them? Justin Herbert got sacked 6 times. Milton Williams, how about him getting in Mike Vrabel's face? What more Mike Vrabel-esque moment than Milton Williams bumping heads with Mike Vrabel and busting his lip, and then Vrabel goes up to him and gives him a kiss on the forehead for it. It's like, what more of Mike Vrabel do you want other than that? That is Mike Vrabel and the Patriots' essence over there. That culture, that defense is legit, and we're going to see a really fun game next week between the Patriots and the Texans.
Yeah. I have another loser for this week. I'm being the negative man over here. I have Matt LaFleur as the loser. Another year as a 9-7 team, 9-8 team, making the 7th seed in the the NFC, getting the 7th seed, and is losing again. This has been 3 straight years. I'm not sure. It's been 3 or 4 straight years of 7th seed mediocrity and losing again. I mean, he just can't get it done. He hasn't won the NFC North since 2021, 2020, and even then, he still just didn't do anything in the playoffs. This Matt LaFleur, there are some conversations that are being had about Matt LaFleur right now, and they are not good ones. And I think that it's not his fault. I mean, it's not the team's fault. Jordan Love did great. He did his job. I mean, the Caleb Williams did terrible. He had 3 interceptions, and the Packers still managed to choke a 21-6 lead in the 4th quarter. I mean, there's some Matt LaFleur. There's something going on there in Green Bay, and it is not good.
I got another loser I'm not going to leave you alone on Loser Island over there, Nolan. We've got losers here from everyone. My big loser this week, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Coming off of a Super Bowl, flying high. Their offense can't get anywhere. Kevin Patullo. Ugh. Get him out of there if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. That one's not going to work. You've got Saquon Barkley, who's trying to carry this load by himself. Jalen Hurts, I think he's a fine quarterback, a good quarterback, but he clearly has limitations, and they're not working around his limitations. A.J. Brown, I think, is causing him a huge schism in that locker room. You might have to trade him. You probably have to trade him. Nick Sirianni, potentially on the hot seat over there if he hadn't won a Super Bowl last year. That team is falling apart at the seams. That offense can't play. I feel bad for that defense. They just tried to lose that game. Jake Elliott missing kicks. Really everything that could have gone wrong for them this season with all the talent that they have did go wrong, and it culminated in a wild card loss at home to the San Francisco 49ers in a game where they lose George Kittle, in a game where they can't get anything going offensively, and in a game where Brock Purdy throws 2 interceptions. They're still able to figure it out thanks to the grace of Christian McCaffrey and a trick play that had Jawan Jennings throwing touchdowns in this one. A big game for the Niners, an awful game for the Eagles. They're a big loser for me.
100%. I don't really have any more winners and losers, so I'll throw the baton over to Nolan on this one.
Appreciate that. I have one winner. I actually have one winner, surprisingly, and it's a team that actually lost. I have a winner in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Liam Cohen in his first year going 13-4 after winning 4 games last year with the exact same roster, relatively. I mean, there is something special brewing in Jacksonville. The fans see it, even though they lost first round. But that was their first time winning the NFC South or AFC South since 2020. Later, I'm not sure the exact year, but around that era, and I'm not sure. But other than that, I mean, this Jacksonville team, they're here to stay. if Liam Cohen does his thing like he keeps doing it, man, they're gonna keep winning the South for years to come. Trevor Lawrence, finally he's getting the recognition he deserves. He played great all year. This Jacksonville Jaguars team and Liam Cohen, they're gonna be good for the next few years. And quite frankly, I'm excited for them.
Yeah, I've got another winner of the week for you guys. Josh Allen. We're staying in that game because Josh Allen, oh my God, he played like his MVP self, a near perfect game, despite getting injured on just about every single play in that first half, nearly breaking his finger, it looked like, on a beautiful throw down the sidelines to Brandon Cooks, which, little sidebar here, shout out Brandon Cooks on his sixth team, having an incredible season for the Bills, at least the last couple weeks of the season. He joined in like week 13. He's kind of stepped up as that wide receiver 1 for them, and that's really impressive for a guy in Brandon Cooks who's kind of been fading away a little bit. Again, Father Time, undefeated, but he had a huge game. And Josh Allen powering them with his legs, with his body, putting it all on the line. Looked like twisting his knee, breaking his finger, dealing with that foot injury. He got checked for a concussion after a Jaguars defender sat on his face when he got sacked. It was a big mess over there for Josh Allen and his health, but he survived. He has them advancing to the next round against the Denver Broncos. That is a big winner for me. Nolan, you got any more winners or losers?
I'm just gonna give the winner. Nah, I'll set this. I think I'm good.
I got another loser for you, though, and I want your thoughts on this one. The NFL schedule, I think, is a loser here. We had, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Former NFL head coach, Super Bowl winner Tony Dungy had a tweet go viral the other day saying that the NFL schedule for the playoffs is unfair and it's broken. You're looking at a team in the Texans who has to play Monday and then has an extra day that then they play the Patriots, who played on Sunday. The Patriots have an extra day of rest, and in the playoffs, rest is super important because these guys have played a brutal schedule, 18 weeks of football plus the wild card game, and they need a break. They need their bodies to recover so they can play their best in the biggest moments of the football game. That is a huge one. You have your teams that are playing on Sunday, playing on Saturday against 1 seeds. You have teams playing on Saturday, playing on Sunday in games against teams that played on Sunday that are also playing on Sunday. The rest is off. That is a big loser for me. I think that's not going to bode well. Like, I don't think it's going to be as big of a mess as causing teams to lose games, but you could see teams not coming out with all the energy that they did. You could see the Texans not coming out with all that gas on defense, and they're going to need to come out with all that gas on defense if they want any hope of beating the Patriots on Sunday. Lots of big stuff, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one specifically. My big loser of the week, the NFL schedule.
It's an interesting one for sure. I think the fact that the Texans got an extra day off this week is probably the reason why they just put him on Sunday next week. It's not like they went from Monday to Saturday. I think if they did that, that would be like egregious. But it's just like 1 day an extra week, 1 day of extra rest here, 1 day less rest here. It just is what it is, That I definitely understand it. It's not fair. I know they're just doing it because Monday Night Football is a big thing. It's not like they scheduled on Thursday Night Football, but they let Monday Night Football slide. That's why they did it. But at the same time, it just, what are you gonna do? You gotta let streaming stations make money. That's all it is. It's just the money machine of the NFL.
You could do 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. That's what you could do. They don't do a game on Monday in Week 18 for this exact reason, so that everyone's fully rested heading into the playoffs. Nolan, what are your thoughts on this NFL schedule?
I think that extra day really can make a difference sometimes. Look at the Texans right now. Nico Collins might not be able to play because concussion protocol, that's a week. And because he played on Monday, so they play on Sunday again, he probably won't be able to play. Maybe he does, doubt it though. And that extra day, if they play, let's say next Monday, he would be able to play, but he probably won't be able to play on Sunday because concussion protocol, like I said, is a week. But that extra day really can make a difference for a star player who's coming off an injury to get back to his full self. You get that extra day of just kind of rehabbing, you get back to full health, it'll be all good to go. But some players don't get that one extra day, that 1 day of you don't get that extra rest. You're kind of just, okay, you got to get back out there now without that extra day of rest. It's gonna do a toll on your body. If you're playing on the injured, your body's injured, your leg, your foot, whatever, it's only going to make it worse. So that extra day of rest really can make a difference.
I got one more loser for you guys. We kind of talked a lot about it in the first segment, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a big loser. You talk about the Chargers putting up just 3 points. At least they didn't give up 30 points on the other side of the ball, right? They got absolutely destroyed, dismantled, absolutely mollywopped. Shout out to the Texans. That defense as a whole gets a big winner, but that Steelers offense, Aaron Rodgers gets a big loser. Did you know that was the worst game in his career by success rate? His entire career. Aaron Rodgers. He's played a lot of football games. That was the worst one he's ever played by success rate, if you're looking at that metric. So a big mess for the Steelers, but a big win for the Texans. We're going to break down all of the big games later on this week in the divisional round, but there's a lot more to get to in the world of sports, as it's not just football going on. I know it might seem like it's just football going on, but there's a lot of other things. And the MLB has the midst of free agency, and we saw a big signing take place over the weekend. Alex Bregman is now a Chicago Cub. Alex Bregman, of course, was formerly of the Boston Red Sox, had a really good season. I'm shocked that he left the Red Sox, honestly. The Cubs don't make a lot of sense to me. He formerly, of course, before the Red Sox, won a World Series with the Houston Astros. Alex Bregman, one of the better third basemen in the game. He's got a really good bat. He loves to hit it to left field, which is why the Boston Red Sox were such a great fit for him, because they have the monster over there, and he can just rip doubles off the monster, Mehrob, right? Like he was doing all of last season, ripping doubles off the monster. But Alex Bregman, 5 years, $175 million, going to the Chicago Cubs. This is an interesting move. He's going to go and slot in as that everyday third baseman for them. The Cubs made the playoffs last year. They needed some help. Kyle Tucker was their big addition that got them there. It seems like Kyle Tucker is not coming back. So in my mind, this is a 1-for-1 Alex Bregman for Kyle Tucker move. And that feels like a downgrade to me. I understand what Alex Bregman brings defensively. I understand what he brings on the offensive side of the ball. But Kyle Tucker, I think what he does is better offensively. I think what he does is a little bit better when it comes to the defense as a whole. I know it's a different position. Alex Bregman, of course, a Gold Glover. Maybe the defense side goes to Bregman here, but I don't think that stadium is built for Alex Bregman. I brought up hitting to left field. That's a deep left field over in Chicago in the Ivy Wall. I don't necessarily love this move, but it's where Alex Bregman is getting paid. 5 for $175. Big deal for him. He signed a lot early. Last year, he was one of those last guys hanging around, a Boris client, which means he likes to hold out for a lot more money. But he saw that check. He took it. He now spends the next 5 years of his career in Chicago, Mehrob. What are your thoughts on Alex Bregman joining the Cubs?
I think it's a good move. I think the Chicago Cubs are kind of like in a similar situation as the Red Sox in terms of they're rebuilding. They're a team that's going to be surging. They're going to be on the come ups for the next at least 4 to 5 years. I think them losing out on Kyle Tucker is going to bite them. But at the same time, I mean, Alex Bregman is an unbelievable hitter. He was hitting about over 200, 250 last season. He's an incredible player. He's still a good defenseman at third base, a solid guy. He's getting on the older side, but you can still trust him in big game situations to make plays, and that's all you really need him to do. He has the experience. He's a veteran talent. I like the move for the Cubs. It kind of mixes well, meshes well with the young talent that they already have building over there with PCA and the rest of the crew. And I think this is only going to be a upgrade for them as they continue to try and get to a World Series.
Yeah, you take a look at what he did last year with the Boston Red Sox. In 114 games, so not quite a full season, he had 272. He hit 273 with 118 hits, 62 RBIs. He had a pretty solid season. It was a little bit of a down year again because of injuries, but he was on pace, especially early in the year, to have MVP-type numbers. Now, maybe not MVP-type numbers when we're talking about a guy like Aaron Judge or a guy like Shohei Ohtani, but definitely MVP-type numbers when you're talking about Alex Bregman. He was up there for a second, finished with 3.5 WAR, a pretty solid number for his career. Again, you see his numbers dip over time. This isn't his worst season, by any stretch of the imagination. But again, WAR is a pretty good generalized stat. It's not your end-all, be-all. But for the last 3 years, he's trended downward. 4.9, 4.1, 3.5. He joins the NL for the first time in his career after hitting 18 home runs in his last season, under 20 home runs for the first time in 4 seasons, and the first time since he played less than 100 games in 2021. That is a little concerning to me. You see his numbers dropping, but he's still very good defensively. His defense is, I mean, insane. It always will be. He's got that Gold Glove pedigree. He was an all-star last year. He won his Gold Glove just 2 seasons ago. He was the reigning Gold Glove third baseman last year. Of course, he had to move around positions a little bit because the Red Sox had their whole shuffle position issues. But Alex Bregman now having a new home again. Nolan, I'm not sold on this move. It's a lot of money for a guy who is already 31 years old. It's going to take him through his age 37 season. It's a little concerning, don't you think? I mean, $175 million for a guy that I think is over the hill. I'm not going to say he's going to fall off a cliff right now. I'm not going that far. But I will say I think that there's a chance he doesn't make an all-star game this year. And if you're paying a guy that's not even an all-star $175 million over 5 years, that's kind of an albatross of a contract that's not going to age well.
It's not crazy to say that, but at the same time, I think his numbers honestly might go up now with his no relocation for him. Obviously, in Boston, like you said, you got the Green Monster. You're hitting doubles off it. You're going to a deeper left field now in Chicago, but it's a smaller wall. I think that his home run numbers could honestly go up a little bit now that he's playing in a park where, there isn't a 10 million foot wall in left field. They're playing in a normally sized left field wall. I think his numbers could go up. I think obviously his defense is still, his strong suit. He's always been a good defender. He's tall. He's got large wingspan. He can make a lot of diving plays and he can jump high. He's got a very good vert. He's able to get off the ground and make plays in the air as well. But his hit, I feel like he's going to be honestly just as good or better now with the relocation, in my opinion. I think that this is definitely going to help him out. Like he said, obviously he's getting older. Like you said, father time always wins. But at the end of the day, baseball is one of those sports where you can kind of play deeper into your career. It's not the most physical game. It's not the most game where it's going to wear and tear your body unless you're like a pitcher. Even those guys play forever too. But I feel like a spot like him, a third baseman, obviously you can't keep playing that position as long or like just infield or outfield because you got to keep up with the ball. But hitting, I mean, he's always been a good hitter, and I feel like his hitting isn't gonna take a drastic toll. I think, like I said, it might get better. And 31 to 37 years old, I mean, that's a big jump. Obviously, 5 years, it's a while, but I think he'll be fine in Chicago. I think they have a great team over there. Obviously, they had PCA, who was a first half of the season All-Star or MVP contender. Then he kind of fell off, but the Cubs in the playoffs, and they were a good team last year. And I think that maybe this addition of him losing Kyle Tucker is huge, but adding on a new guy, a new player to kind of take his spot, I think they'll be okay. And I think his numbers might go up still.
Yeah, just real quick so we can get the dimensions of specifically the left field because that's where he likes to hit the ball. Left field line to the foul pole in Fenway is 310 feet, while it's 355 going to Wrigley Field. So that's a 45-foot jump, but again, you've got that monster wall. So it might even out a little bit, but still that's going to be a lot more flyouts than line drive doubles. You know what I mean? Because that's still 40 extra feet of space that a defender can run as opposed to a wall being there that they can't really run through in Fenway. When you're looking at left center field, 379 feet in Fenway isn't necessarily the deepest, but it's not the closest either, right? You've got a lot of guys that can move towards it. While in Wrigley, it's 358. So you're going to left center. It's going to take a little bit of that space off as far as where you're trying to go with those dimensions. Again, 379 to 358. But down that left field line, it's a lot longer in Wrigley Field. So that is something to keep an eye on if you are Alex Bregman. If he can hit a little bit more opposite field, which he hasn't really done in his career, maybe we can see those numbers go up, but I'm not sold on this move, honestly. I think it's a fine move. Short-term move, I think it's fine, but I don't love giving him all of that term. It's so much for a guy that's going to turn 32 this season, and I'm not sold on it here. But there are other moves that the Cubs could make to make it better. They still have some money to spend. They're still saving money because they're not paying Kyle Tucker. You have PCA, which you brought up. This is a team that was in that playoff race down the stretch here last season. This is a Chicago Cubs team that has a lot of promise. I need to see more out of that pitching staff. You saw a couple guys, but they kind of fell off down the stretch of that season. But this is not a Chicago team that I love the move for. Again, I'll keep coming back to it. I think that it's a solid move in a vacuum. In a vacuum, it's a solid move, but you got to take a look at everything else, all the context here, and I don't necessarily love it for the Cubs. If y'all have any final words on this, Mehrob, I'll leave it to you for the Cubs and Alex Bregman.
I'm actually going to switch off from the Cubs' point of view on this one because I do have one last thing to say. Red Sox ownership, when are you going to pay your players, man? Come on. Please.
Yeah,
please. No, you haven't talked about this yet. Why have the Red Sox continued to do this? First, they traded Rafael Devers. You can go as far back as Mookie Betts. But ever since the Heimblum era, when they made that trade, when they traded Rafael Devers mid-season after he had just hit a game-winning bomb against the Yankees, the list just goes on and on. They just have not been able to they've been able to sign talent, but they cannot keep talent. And they let talent walk out the door time and time again. At some point or another, you have to be able to pay your guys. Jarren Duran does not look like a guy that you're incredibly interested in keeping. Your whole team is already pretty much on the trade block right now, outside of your three rookies that are out there, the three rookies that you're keeping for your future. I think at some point or another, you just need to be able to sign and pay your players. Either trade them or sign them. Don't just let them walk out the door. That's my rant. Red Sox, pay your players.
Yeah, that's been a big problem for them. And obviously, Rafael Devers traded away because they had already paid him. But that was a whole big mess. He was the guy that they had paid. They don't pay Bregman. They don't pay Mookie Betts. That's still a solid team, but you don't really have that guy. You really don't have that guy like you would normally have it if you are the Red Sox anymore. Alex Bregman gone. Maybe you trust the young guys. You do have those young guys that came up and played really, really good for the Red Sox last year, so maybe they're counting on that young talent to come back and continue to develop. But we'll keep an eye on it. We're going to do a series once baseball's a little bit closer where we'll break down every single team every single day for one of our segments, talk about what they did in the offseason, and talk about what's coming up for them later on in the year. But that will be 30 days to first pitch on opening day. We'll do a countdown, 30 days, 30 teams. That is not for about a month at this point. So just keep an eye open for that because we will be covering baseball when baseball returns. But thank you everybody so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Triple Threat Show. We have been your hosts, Jeremy Lapidus, Mehrob Fatemi, and Nolan Jamber. Check us out everywhere you get your podcast. That's Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. Literally, you think you can find your podcast on the dark web? That's where our podcast is. It's everywhere. You can find us on TikTok at _Triple Threat Show. You can find us on Instagram at 3 Threat Show. You can find us on Twitch at 3 Threat Show, and you can find us on YouTube at Triple Threat Show. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe. We appreciate everybody from tuning in and watching. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing our rankings of the 8 teams still in the NFL playoffs and much